Hey everyone, this is David Fisher and welcome back to In the First Place Astrology on YouTube. Here with me again, I have Elsa. Hi Elsa, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Thank you for being here again. I generally say thank you for having me on everybody's channel, but I'm having her in this channel now. So you guys, I am here with Elsa tonight to discuss the first decan of Taurus. So we've changed signs now. But we're still following that Chaldean order of planets. So we've went through Venus last time in Aries, last decan of Aries. And now we're going into Taurus 1 with Mercury ruling the first decan of Taurus. So Elsa, what's the name that T, Susan Chang, and Austin Coppock give to this particular decan?
So Austin calls it the plow, which is pretty self-explanatory. But one of the things I think in his book that we could just refer to is that he talks about now the swords that we found in Aries are sort of being beaten into plowshares, or that sword that you see, that weapon or axe that you see, is now being transformed into this plow, where it's being used to sort of till the earth in a way. And then T. Susan Chang calls it sacred doubt.
The sacred doubt thing relates a lot to Mercury as the ruler of the decan. And sacred doubt comes from the debate quality of Mercury. Mercury is also adding in new factors, also always adding in new information. It's always adding in new circumstances, luckily or unluckily, that will turn the wheel around, that will make everything that's above go to below and all of that.
Yeah, it's the deconstructionist. So if we have Mercury here, it's being represented as the Magician card in the majors. And then we have the Taurus card, which is the Hierophant. So
here we have two examples from the Illuminati deck. We have the Magician and the Hierophant.
Yeah, totally. So you've got that sacredness maybe coming through with that ultimate teacher, and that sacred doubt aspect coming from the deconstructionist part of Mercury, and the fact that Mercury is the farthest away from its home when it's in that Venus place. So, Mercury is not at this huge fall here, just the way we saw Venus in the last decan in Mars's sign. She's not the happiest she could be. So here you've got that deconstructionist Mercury magician coming up against the Hierophant, the teacher, the guru, the pope. So you've got that kind of the questioning, the sacred doubt. And then we move on to, and it's a very cool kind of juxtaposition, because the minor arcana here is the 5 of coins, which you have, a lot of, it's the only card that has snow, it has wind, it has poverty, you have these people out in the cold. So it's a really interesting sort of juxtaposition. I think we talk about the graces here, we talk about charity here.
Yeah, the fives, they're about, and they are, the fives, they're all the first cards of the fixed signs for each suit. So this is the Earth suit with Taurus that we're talking about. So it's going to be the 5 of Pentacles. And you see the Taurus card, the Hierophant, talks about a certain ritual that is has to be kept at all costs. You have to keep the hierarchy, you have to keep these ideals, and there is a certain way to behave, there is a certain thing to be done that is specific. With the Magician, you have more of a flexibility where you have a constant questioning of what's the best material to use and why? How can it be used to the best of its capacity? What are its limits around it? There is a testing, a curiosity that you don't see in a Hierophant necessarily. I think that sacred doubt thing that is encompassed in the 5 of Pentacles comes in as, you have two things being depicted here. And you have this safe space in the background, warm space with a warm light and color. and you have this bluish, this blue picture outside with snow and poverty, as Elsa was saying. And so you have this thing between the structure, between things that are constant and safeguarded, and things that are defying that, challenging that particular stability all the time. And that's depicted in the Five of Pentacles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see the Magician as like a certain type of personal power, where maybe the Hierophant is like a little bit more like a structural power, like in that learning, that sort of like some scrolls being passed on and passed on and passed on, where this Magician is sort of like this enlightened from the inside sort of logos type of feeling. And maybe you see the people with less personal power here because Mercury is maybe in less of a place. And just to kind of wrap that back around, I think the plow is a good place to start, because when we have to have sacred doubt, right, in the planting process, but we still have to plant. We don't know if there's going to be storms that befall the crops. We don't know if it's going to get eaten by a plague of locusts or something like this. But each year we still must tend to it. We still must put our energy into it and have some kind of, at least hope or faith that the work that we put out in our own personal power, giving away our personal power, in fact, maybe perhaps in this, you know, plowing of the land, you've got the potential and the faith, right? The potential for the garden to grow. And I just go out there daily, just hoping my crops will come in at the end of the year, knowing that it's going to be fluctuating.
You've got to have faith to be able, yes, to be able to have stability amongst uncertain circumstances, right? Things are always changing, always revolving. You have to expect on certain rhythms and certain cycles, like agriculture. You have to wait on nature cycles to be able to have your payback, you know, for your hard work. And sometimes you don't have as much as you planted to have.
That's right.
You don't sometimes reap what you've sown, as we know. And in those times, can you maintain your own stability? How do you maintain yourself stable amongst diversity? I know that unforeseen events come by. You have the Job characterization in the Bible as one of the so-called poetic books in the Bible, because it tells a story with a moral. It has that kind of teaching sense. And I feel like Job is a story for this. It's like you've lived through plenty. Some people haven't, but if you lived through plenty, how can you complain when the wheel turns on you? How will you stay stable and true to yourself? Or was that self that you've harnessed in plenty, in your abundance, something that was so unstable and something that was so shallow that it couldn't stand the trial of fire or the trial of, of whatever it came over it?
Yeah. And if we have the Keeper of Keys with the Hierophant, and we have, maybe Susan Chang talks about it as the picking of locks being a type of, and you talked about, when we were talking about before we started, the personal resourcefulness of like, okay, the crop's not coming in, there was a hailstorm, now what do we do? And sometimes there isn't anything you can do with your own personal power. And I guess that's the time where we go to our teachers, we go to our communities, we go to our churches, and hope that they'll take some charity on ideally, right? Like the ideal of the Hierophant in a community would be to, when things are hard and we've befallen hard times spiritually or materially in this case, that we do have those teachers and those guides in the community to help us when our personal powers are down, perhaps.
To have mercy on someone is to really take in their pain, is to understand their pain and make it your own. And I feel
it can
like
happen to anyone, right? It
yes.
can, the crops and the hard times can befall anyone.
I feel like this card, yes, is just telling you, attached to those people that are giving you that sense of, I know what you're going through because I've been through what you've gone through, and I can be of assistance to you because I can have mercy on you. You know, I can look at you with empathy. And I
And in
think
this
that
case,
this
our
card
resource,
advises us to look for that sense of community once we find ourselves in that situation as well. It's reminding us that there always will be people that will understand and that will be there for help because they identify with us in that scenario.
yes, yes. And I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I just got excited
Okay.
about in this case, our personal power comes in that sacred doubt of the fact that, like, I guess planning for a rainy day, or yeah, having that personal resource if something does befall you, or even being like, you know, my crops might not be going that well. A storm could befall me, right? But just having that sacred doubt, like that could happen. And then I plan accordingly, or then I reach out to my community accordingly. I reach out to those wisdom factors and those teachers and my own personal power to bring me through the time when times are lean, or, you know, just, you know, beating those swords into plowshares or whatever it is. It's hard work, it's diligence. And when we're talking about Mercury, not only is the deconstructionist, but also the habituation, the trust, which is kind of, you know, kind of a deeper, more esoteric mercurial theme. But you have that habituation that you're building into tending the crops, even though you have the sacred doubt. You know, you have that piece that it might not come through, and you don't have any control over that. All you have control over is your planning and your process. And I just wanted to say this one quote from T. Susan Chang, which is, to believe without worry is surely a magical act. And I think that was a really beautiful way she sums up that dichotomy.
Yeah, it's faith. And I think that, oh, I can see the moon from my window right now, rising up on the horizon. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, good omen. But you have sometimes in life when the Five of Pentacles comes up, you have only a sacred doubt moment. It doesn't mean that you're going to be poor forever, that you're going to lose everything, but you're going to have the feeling of the rug being pulled from under you, because you're going to have that sense of thinking, oh my God, what do I do? Where are my resources? You're going to access everything like mercurial. You're going to be, where are my resources? Where I have everything placed? Who are the people that can help me? What are the actions that I'm going to have to take if such and such goes wrong? And it's just that having that stability threatened, how much of your faith is shaken in that? And what does that reveal to you about how certain your actions were, really? And how were you trying to deceive yourself, maybe, or how were other people trying to deceive you in that situation?
That's right.
And thus it allows you to have a better overview so you can adjust your course of action, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. When poverty befalls us all, when the storms hit the crops,
and many times before I've seen, like, there was a friend of mine last week, she got fired a few weeks back, actually. She got fired from this long term job that she had for years, and she was very stable. She didn't think she was going to get fired, but she did, because of something really minor. She spent a week weeping about that, and she got offered not one but 3 new positions, you know, in different companies that were actually offering her better positions than she occupied in the previous one. So she had that Five of Pentacles week where she had to think about her reality, access all her resources and the people around her, and what her true stability was lying on, you know. And
when
it was amazing. She had a rebirth.
Yeah, a rebirth. And when the chips are down, who are we in our personal power? When the chips are down, who have we taken as our gurus and our teachers? Who have we had as our community? And that speaks to sacred doubt. When you are choosing a leader and a guru and a priest and all these things, it's good to have a certain amount of skepticism and doubt, but not to the point that it completely shatters your faith, or you don't have this ability to sort of build on something or attain personal power and wisdom outside of yourself even. So yeah, I think that's kind of, that puts a wrap on like my idea with that sacred doubt, is like approaching your teachers in this way and approaching yourself in this way. When something gets down and you're in a state of poverty or injury, where do you turn, and how do you work with that magic? How do you?
Yeah, it's kind of a reassessment of your reinsurances, of your validations, and what your base really is about. Well, with that, I think we can come to a close of this short video. And Elsa, what have you got going on for you?
I'm open for readings, general readings, electional, magical ritual kind of stuff. My favorite, I mean, I know we're doing this video and everything, and I love doing videos with you, and I love talking about astrology and philosophical concepts, but I love doing natal readings, and I love doing astrology. I know that's like the heart of where we're both coming from. So if you want a reading, you can hit me up on the Hellenistic Astrology channel. My email's over there, and I'm doing all kinds of stuff astrology related, including natal readings. And then, do you want to talk about the projects that we're announcing now that's coming up in June?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that now. I want to complain with you guys now. We are going to be launching with Matt this amazing project. It will be about like study buddy sessions that we're going to have with you guys through Patreon. And we are going to release some videos attached to those sessions on YouTube as well. Just quick overviews of what we're discussing in the study sessions themselves, so you guys can kind of follow up with your own studying on your own. If you guys cannot do a Patreon, but you can try to buy a book, or you can just try to research those topics on your own and try to follow some schedule on your studying with us. You'll be very welcome, and we will be releasing these videos on YouTube, as well as the project on Patreon, the bigger project of the study groups on Patreon with Matt, our friend.
So can you tell them where to find Matt? Because Matt's also here on YouTube.
Yeah, the Astrologer's Encyclopedia is Matt's channel. You can go and check them out on the links in the description. All the links are going to be down below. Talking about that, we also do this series on Elsa's channel, Hellenistic Astrology channel. That is a much deeper dive into these concepts. We do some tarot associations there as well, but this is the main one for tarot. There we go over 36 faces, 36 secrets, their opinions and their views on the books. We go over it broadly, and we discuss what we thought of it, our experiences with it. So do check that out with Katie Dayton, our friend. Shout out also to the Sunchilde Tarot channel.
Sunchilde Tarot, of course, yes.
Sunchilde Tarot channel. Our friend D is doing this series with us here in my channel as well. I have the new moon, full moon series with him in his channel periodically. You can stay tuned for that too. And D couldn't be in this video with us today, but he'll be in the next ones. And we have the Astro Collective. We are all a part of them. The people mentioned here in the video, most of us are a part of the Astro Collective. And if you check that page out on Facebook, links down below, you're also going to see content by amazing astrologers, adding to your study sessions, to the things that you can research on your own to deepen your knowledge on astrology. And is there anything else? Oh, my own offerings. I have my website, In the First Place Astrology. You guys can check them out. I am offering tutoring sessions, rectifications, horary reading, natal readings, solar return readings, and anything else you can come up with and you might want to know about astrology. Come up and ask. I'll get you a budget or something for us to be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we both do. I wanted to say we both do tutoring. We both do rectification, magical elections, things like that. So just some of those more obscure things that maybe this audience would be more in tune to, like wanting to follow. But what I did want to say is we didn't actually tell you the book that we're starting with in June. So this is exciting. We're probably going to center our book club around Demetra George's new book. And if you're not a part of the Patreon for that, no big deal, because like David said, we're doing companion videos. So if you don't have the book for any reason, follow us, because we're going to be doing like a broad overview of the chapters of the book starting in June.
And it's going to be for people who have the book in particular, because if you don't have it, we are not going to do reading sessions. We are not going to go over every detail of the book. We're going to discuss our thoughts around it. And we are going to stimulate you guys to study on your own the concepts that are brought up in a schematized way. Like, we are going to moderate the discussions, but the idea is that you guys can come in and exchange your ideas about the chapter, having studied previously, and we are going to give you bullet points if you guys can't come up with them yourself. So we're going to be there facilitating things, but it's going to be mainly a study buddy group.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not a teaching session per se, but that's what's helped us so much. Like, that's how we know each other, is just being like, oh my God, did you read this? Like, what did you think? Like, where are you at in the book? Like, where are you at in the chapters? So it's basically just that for people that maybe don't have the resources to get together with friends, or don't have that Astro community to get together and talk about just the excitement. And
we want to create a safe, moderated space, a platform. And since we have to dedicate our times to that, and it's something that we really want to provide to the community, so it's a way for you to support our work and also get in touch with the community that has been, you know, studying the same things as you. If you find yourselves in our Patreon account, you're probably going to be looking at our content. And so you're probably going to be studying a lot of the Decans, for instance. That's what we're doing right now. And the other contents that we're coming up with. So there's more topics for you to go over with your study buddies in those sessions. So
perfectly put. And no, briefly, really briefly,
sorry,
it's okay.
Guys. Go on, go for it.
Not this long commercial, but I do have, I've never mentioned this on David's channel before, I don't think, or that I can remember, but I do like little decanic images for each decan as they come along, with all of the, you know, tokens that are mentioned in the Picatrix and Yavanajadika and Susan and Austin's book. I just try to take those images and put them all in one place for the thumbnails over on my channel. But if you're interested in those, $2 a month on Patreon, you'll get all of them. So if you're interested in just joining at like a really chill level, and you're following along with the decans, that's available for y'all.
Yeah, so you should go and check that out. Again, the links are going to be down below. Elsa, be sure to send me those links so I can put them down below.
For sure.
And I'll see you guys next time. With that, we're closing. End of the announcements, I promise. You guys, stay cool. See you next time.